KW253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Wolo.
Football. It's here. Great to have real games on last night. Boy, I'll tell you what, North Dakota State gave Colorado everything they could muster. Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, those guys made some big plays toward the end. Terrible game management by Coach Prime. Game should have been over, and in fact, there were chances for North Dakota State to win the darn game at the end. They didn't knock the ball down. I mean, they made a lot of miscues. If they play like this, it's going to be a long year for Coach Prime. Because remember, this is an FCS team, which used to be 1AA, but they're the best. I mean, they're number 2 in the country in that category. And I think it's pretty obvious Colorado's just a very average group of 4 team. But they did get the win last night, and we do see just the great athleticism and skill of 3 of those guys in particular. North Carolina came back to meet Minnesota, but they lost their quarterback. That was an ugly hip injury to Max Johnson, who used to be at A&M. They do have a couple of good quarterbacks there, though, and the Tar Heels were able to win. Arkansas did something that you're not going to see them do the rest of this year. That's partially because Arkansas Pine Bluff is what Arkansas Pine Bluff is. I mean, you have a bye game like that, helps their athletic department. It gives Arkansas fans something to cheer for. It gives a little bit of hope to their team and some camaraderie, and you see the potential of the Bobby Petrino offense. 10 series, 10 touchdowns, 70 points they put up on Arkansas Pine Bluff. And this I love. I absolutely love this, Zach Boyd. The SEC is going to release, like the NFL, injury reports, availability of players in games. You know, coaches rarely will tell you. Like, if we get info at a coaches meeting about a guy not going to be able to play, we are sworn to secrecy. We can't say a thing. Now, in the SEC, and I think it's that way in the Big Ten too, they're going to release the injury, so you know exactly when we're making all our predictions like you and I are going to make here in a minute, you know that the guy's playing or he's not playing and what the injury is, I guess. I'm assuming that will be in there too. So I applaud the SEC for making that decision. That will be for conference games that they will release player availability. So cheers to them. You ready to make our first picks? We got a busy show. It's football, as I said. Glenn Rogers will join us. Brian Thakis will end the show. We will talk about the Tigers game with North Alabama. Last time they played, it was one-sided. I expect it to be that same way this time. 38.5-point favorites. Although this will be interesting. This team, North Alabama, not a very good year last year. Won 3 games. They did get a quarterback from Stanford. They can run the ball. They love trick plays. But SEMO beat them 37-15, and that was in Montgomery, so it was like a neutral, but it was in Alabama. Come on. So you got to figure Memphis is going to win the game. And, you know, I never know. I make this statement about covering when you got games that are 38.5-point lines. I'm never sold on you're going to cover because you could be seeing third-team guys because you want to play as many as you can to get a real sense in the heat of battle what a guy is really going to be like. So who knows? I suspect Memphis will definitely win the game. We will pick the closer contest that we think that will occur. Zach will keep our scoreboard going. Speaking of scoreboard, how about I don't take Scotty Scheffler for the first time. First time since the FedEx Cup began, I had the first pick. Took them both the first legs, Memphis and Castle Pines. And don't take him this time because Xander's so hot. What does he go and do? Shoots a 65, 6 under. He's got a 7-stroke lead on everybody. We'll keep our eye on that as they tee off there in about 8 minutes. But that looks pretty good. Okay, let's make some picks, Zach Boyd. Georgia, Clemson in Atlanta. I was listening to Greg and Eli this morning, and their tout, who's so good. And he said something interesting. Dabo Swinney doesn't lose. He covers the spread every time in these opening games. Georgia's a 12-point favorite. That line's gone down. It was 13.5 originally when I started to do these things. Down to 12 now. I do think Georgia's going to win the game. It's in Atlanta, which is really a home game for them. But I think Clemson will give them a battle. I really do. I think Clemson will keep it within 10. So I think they will cover. Georgia will win the game. What say you, Zach Boyd?
That's Georgia minus 12?
Yeah.
Yeah, give me Georgia minus 12.
So you'll take the points, and I take Clemson. Then Miami, minus 2.5 playing in Gainesville. I just don't trust Billy Napier's team. Miami's got a lot of talent. I know sometimes you wonder about their coaching, but I think it's enough. I'm going to take Miami.
Miami? Am I looking at this right?
Miami?
Miami and Florida. I thought it says Minnesota and Florida.
No, it's Miami.
Okay, yeah.
Minnesota got beat by North Carolina last night.
Yeah.
Good game.
Give me Miami as well.
Okay. Penn State going to West Virginia. I just heard a lot of people think West Virginia is going to win this game. Penn State is minus 8. I think Penn State's for real. I'm not going to go back with what last year and how well they may have played at the end of the year. I think Penn State's loaded. I'm going to go Penn State. I'll go Big Ten in this one.
Somebody get John Denver on the line.
Country roads, huh? You're going West Virginia? Okay. Texas A&M minus 3 against Notre Dame. I think Brandon Lang loved Notre Dame in this. I like A&M. It's at A&M. And their new coach, he's tough. I like him. I'm going Aggies.
Give me the Aggies as well.
All right.
I need to see if Notre Dame is for real this year.
I agree. Freshman quarterback and everything else that comes with that. And then finally, LSU against USC. That's on a neutral in Vegas. LSU 4.5. Again, I'm going to go against what a bunch of people have said already. They like USC in this game. I'm all over LSU.
Give me LSU.
All right. So we only differ on a couple, right? You like Georgia. I like Clemson. We agree on Miami. You like West Virginia. I like Penn State. We're both on A&M and LSU. So I think you went with you went with Miami. I thought you were going to go with every SEC team. But we'll play that out as the whole thing goes. Sitting in the Family Leisure Studios, and it's still going on, the biggest spa sale in the history of mankind at Family Leisure, where you literally can save thousands on in-stock hot tubs, and they are ready right now for delivery. You just call, they'll bring it on over. Spas starting at $28.99, or those new cold plunges, everybody. That's the newest thing, like in Hollywood. Get the circulation going, under $4,000. Swim spas, the big, huge Cadillac of all of them. $17,499 with special financing available and big discounts on all in-stock above-ground pools. It's time to really take advantage of the biggest spa sale going on at I-40 and Whidden Road. That's Family Leisure. Let's head not too far from here down Ridgeway. We go and we chat with our coach. That is Glenn Rogers Jr. on high school football. Both of us last week were at the Bartlett and MUS game. You had a little different perspective sitting in the stands for the first time in 20-plus years. You got to see, though, a really good player. I think one of the best players in the city, Jerron Johnson, the running back at Bartlett, who can run a 4.2, 4.40. And they were impressive because, Glenn, not only did Johnson show you he was the best player on the field, when it came to the trenches, the best team on both sides of the line were the Panthers. And they were ranked third in the city for a reason. They live up to the billing against MUS, which was number 7 at that time. Your impressions. Good morning.
Good morning, Dave. Good morning to you and all our listeners. This is the Easy Beat Friday. So glad to be doing high school football with you again, my friend. And before we get going on that, I want to congratulate this young man from Maxine STEAM Academy, Sutherland Young, was chosen the Jack Kent Cook Young Scholar Award. Out of 800 applicants, Dave, he was one of the 55 chosen for this prestigious program. They'll track these young men and women around the country for the next 4 or 5 years in high school and then throughout college. And so young man over at Maxine STEAM Academy is doing well and something positive for the city and for his family, his mom, Aaron, and his little brother, Austin. It's a big achievement for that young man,
what
Dave,
exactly,
I just want to congratulate him.
What exactly is the Jack Kent Cook Award?
Well, it's a prestigious program. If you look it up online, it goes into detail. But what they do is they over 800 applicants around the country apply for this scholarship program. And what they do is they track these kids. They make sure they place them in a good high school. And then they follow them through high school. If it's a private school, they help fund it. Tutoring, they go to different various camps in the summer for different things academically and leadership programs. And then they track these kids in college. They get an advisor. These kids be tracked throughout their college careers, their job placement, internship program. They just monitor these kids all the way through high school and all the way through college to make sure they try to ensure these kids are being successful. And so he was one of 55 chosen around the country out of 800 applicants. So hats off to him and his family.
The Maxine Smith school.
Yeah, he's over at Maxine Smith. He's a middle school, eighth grader.
That's in East High School. So is he going to East High School?
Yeah. I don't know. He's looking at a couple of private school options. He's a real good golfer and baseball player. So
all right.
I know I'm gonna be talking to his parents about MUS. I can promise you that he's gonna visit our campus October the 2nd. But I just wanted to congratulate him and his family. Like I said, his mom Aaron and his little brother Austin and the whole Young family. That's a big time accomplishment, Dave, for a young man in our area to be chosen for that prestigious program. And we know Jack Kent Cook is the former owner of the Redskins.
Right.
Dedicated his life savings to doing stuff like this, putting a program out like this. So congratulations to the Cook family for doing things like this for these young men and women across the country.
All right, your impression of Jaron Johnson and Bartlett last week?
Dave, I tell you, he was. You can tell he's an SEC running back caliber. He's physical. He's not a real big guy, maybe 5'11", 6 feet. You can see the burst. You can see the speed. He ran with some power. He ran with some quickness. It was shocking just to see how the second half, how he got going. And hats off to their coach. They were trying to throw the ball early in the first half, and it looked like he said, "Hey, we're going to put the ball in this young man's hand and let him just do what he can do, and let that O-line and D-line take control of the game." And that's what happened. They took control of the game, and he ran for 335 yards on 36 carries and 5 touchdowns. Well, that's a lot of yards.
It is.
For running back on for one game.
Against MUS, they were the number 7 team in the city at the time. That's pretty darn impressive. The thing that most impressed me, too, were the lines. I mentioned that. I mean, there no question Bartlett was the more physical football team.
Oh, they were definitely physical at the point of attack. And I thought MUS the first half did an outstanding job against some 3-and-outs. Couldn't get the offense going, but you keep a defense on the field that long, eventually they're gonna wear down. Especially when you got a running game, you got those big old linemen leaning on you, and you got a back like him knifing through holes and breaking tackles. That made it a tough outing for Coach Chubb, his first game, and his staff. And so I think they'll bounce back tonight, Dave, against Melrose. I think you'll see a much better performance tonight.
Let's get to that in a second. Bartlett is hosting Lausanne tonight. Lausanne, a big winner. We know how well coached they are with Kevin LeCastro. How do you break that game down? That will be, I think, another really good game in Bartlett.
Absolutely. Dave, the first couple of weeks have been exciting football, just not only for our city but around the country. And like you said, Dave, if Kevin LeCastro and Chris Jordan, I'm pretty sure they watched that film, they better load that box up, because that young man will not be able to beat me. That quarterback would have to throw the ball. If I was Kevin, knowing him and Chris Jordan, the D coordinator, they're going to load that box and make somebody else beat him, hopefully the quarterback arm, because still, that young man can beat you if you allow him to. And, you better load that box up and make somebody else beat you. And I think Kevin will try to do that tonight. I think the formula for Bartlett is going to be get the ball in Jerry Johnson's hand and let him do his thing. And, special teams is always going to come down, the kicking game. It's going to be an exciting game at Bartlett again tonight. Big crowd, great atmosphere over there at Bartlett.
Oh,
Tim
yeah.
Jones and the principal over there, the staff, everybody over there associated with Bartlett. An outstanding Friday night atmosphere over that day. You and I and Coach McKay, one of my co-workers here, my daughter, we enjoyed ourselves.
It was great. All right, tell me who wins.
I'm going with Bartlett. I think it'll be a tough game, a hard-fought battle. Bartlett pulled it out last year, lost there. I think a home field advantage, working Bartlett's favor tonight. I just think that young man, he'll keep the yards turning. I think he'll break loose a few times tonight and get some big runs and help them win the ball game. I think Bartlett wins the ball game tonight.
All right, Coach Chubb's era at MUS starts off with the loss. They're 0-1, and they're going to play, at least at home this time, to a Melrose team that's 1-0. And Melrose has these two brothers that are the co-coaches, and one of the brothers, the offensive coordinator, has a son named Jamarian Morrow, didn't play last week. They still won easily. They have this should be a great matchup. The Commercial Appeals picked Melrose to win this game. What do you see?
Yeah, well, the Owls are at home. It'll be a big crowd out here tonight. I think Coach Chubb and his defensive staff, Zach Erickson and Charlie White, I think they've got some things figured out. Brent Newman, our offensive coordinator, I think he's got some things figured out. I think, watching both teams, I watched Melrose on Saturday against East. I think MUS will have some advantage up front on both sides of the ball. I think MUS will get their running game going. And as athletic as Melrose is, I still saw them make a lot of mistakes, not being disciplined, not being gap sound on certain plays. And I think MUS will take advantage of that. And I know the kicking game will be in MUS's favor. I'm going to say Coach Chubb's going to get his first victory tonight and get that dousing of the Gatorade tonight for his first victory as an Owl head coach.
The number one team in the area, Houston, the defending 6A champions, they take on DeSoto Central, a very good team. Last week, Houston absolutely ripped apart Briarcrest. This will be the first game for DeSoto. Who wins this one?
I tell you, Dave, James Thomas and his staff, they've got something special going on at Houston. Anytime you're coming off a state championship year, everybody's excited. A lot of players back from that team last year, mainly the quarterback. Your quarterback is the engine that makes the whole train move. That young man's a heck of a baseball player, but he's a hell of a quarterback too as well. I think Coach Thomas is going to keep it rolling tonight. I think it'll be a hard-fought ball game, but that defense, the aggressive nature that they play with, and the quarterback, when you got a senior leader that's been a starter for 3 years, he knows what to do. He knows how to manage the game and get the ball in his playmaker's hands. I think Houston wins tonight in a tough one. It'll be a hard fall, but I think Houston pulls it off.
We got another suburban versus Mississippi school. This one's tougher, though. Germantown, which absolutely slaughtered Raleigh Egypt last week, goes to South Panola. We used to call it South Panola University. Remember that multi-year winning streak thing going on?
Yes, sir. University of South Panola.
It's hard. It's hard to beat those guys. What happens tonight?
And they played down at DeSoto Central, kind of a neutral site. I tell you, Gene, I've said this before, Dave, we got a lot of good young coaches. Chris Smith at Bartlett, Coach Thomas over at Houston, and Gene Robinson at Germantown. Gene's one of the best coaches in his area. I think that tonight they're going to go down into a very hostile environment. South Panola bring a lot of fans up here. I watched South Panola in the summertime at 707 at Memphis. They still look athletic, got guys that can run and jump all over the place. I think this will be a close ball game, but I think South Panola will pull it out tonight. But it'll be a hard-fought game. It'll be a close game. I think I'm going to give South Panola advantage because they are playing in the state of Mississippi. And I think they'll pull out the victory tonight in a close one, in a heartbreak.
Collierville is at Beach. Both teams won last week. This quarterback for Collierville, Grant Troutman, threw 3 touchdowns. Tough to win at Beach, though. How do you see that one?
Yeah, it's tough to win at Beach, Dave. And like you said, he threw for 3 touchdowns last week. Joe Riccone, another good coach in there, former Tiger. I think Dave, when you're going out of town, and I think they go to the beach. Am I right, Dave?
Yes.
Yeah. When you go in these hostile environments, everybody in town will be at the game. I think Joe will have his team ready, but I tell you, beach. Anytime you go in these suburban cities, it's tough to win. The environment is electric. Everybody's at the ball game. I think Colleyville will go in there, but I think Beach will pull it out in a nail bite. I think Beach will pull it out tonight.
Whitehaven, are they back? The way they played against Central, it looked like it, but they got a tough chore. Tupelo is always really good. They got to go to Tupelo.
And, Coach Salisbury, another win last week over a very good Central team, a major right team. But going to Mississippi, to Tupelo, Mississippi, my former Tiger teammate, Russell Copeland, who's on your show, he's a Tupelo guy. Tupelo is a tough place to play. They got it back rolling down there. The football program, they was down for a couple of years. I think Whitehaven put up a fight, but I think Tupelo will be too much for them down there at their home stadium down there in Tupelo, Mississippi.
By the way, Russell is now coaching at South Haven.
Man, I'll tell you, hey, Copeland, that's my guy, Dave, the Tupelo's finest. Russell Copeland, great teammate, a great friend.
Right. And last game, Sheffield with a super receiver taking on Christian Brothers that really dominated White Station last week. Christian Brothers looks like they've got a team this year. What's going to happen tonight at Walnut Grove and 240?
Well, Coach McDaniel had his guys prepared. Obviously, he had to prepare for that game last Thursday. I mean, I was shocked the way White Station, a lot of penalties against White Station. That's unlike a Coach Conley's coach team. A lot of mistakes. But Coach McDaniel has his team primed and ready to make a big push this year. And Sheffield last week laid an egg on me out there at Cordova. I thought that receiver would be too powerful, have too much firepower. I'm going with the brothers. I think the brothers will run the ball, control the clock. They'll find a way to get that guy double covered. Christian Brothers' defense has been stout. They 41-0 against a talented White Station team. That tells you they're playing some tough, hard-nosed defense. I think the running game and the defense will be too much for Sheffield tonight, and give Coach McDaniel's team a win and get off to a 2-0 start.
He's our man. That's Glenn Rogers. Thank you so much, Coach. We appreciate it. We'll talk next Friday.
Absolutely. Go Tigers. Go and good luck to the Tigers this weekend against the North Alabama team. Good luck, Tigers.
They should be able to take care of business on that one for
sure.
They
should be. Absolutely, Dave. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. That's Glenn Rogers, brought to you in part by Southern Security, your home team credit union. Need cash? You can refinance your auto loan with Southern Security and have no payment for 60 days. Southern Security will finance up to 115% of the current value of your vehicle for up to 72 months. All you got to do to find out is put more cash in your pocket. It's easy with our member service team by calling 452-7900, or you can apply on the website at southernsecurity.org. Southern Security, proud supporter of UM Athletics and 901 Women. They are your home team credit union. They're federally insured by NCUAA. If you need cash, it's easy to refinance with Southern Security. We take a quick time out. When we come back, we will head to Chicago. We'll talk a little NBA offseason. Lots of stuff still going on. Curry's new deal, everything that's up there, the flexibility the Grizzlies might have with the move they made a couple of days ago. Andy Schiffman on the docket in just a minute.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Simple, smooth, and every sip is easier to last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does your favorite mixers. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent out to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff, just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roofing. In these uncertain economic times, there are so many things as a contractor and a business owner that I cannot control. The rising cost of materials, not to mention fuel and transportation costs. In the last 2 years, shingle prices have almost doubled, and commercial materials have doubled. And I don't have to tell you what fuel costs these days. But you know what I can control? How much markup I put on a project. I have always prided myself in knowing I never gouge a customer. But in an effort to ensure my crews have work and my customers are being treated fairly, I have lowered my profit margin, hoping to give you a price you can live with and keeping my crews busy. So if you need a roof or gutters, please give us a call. 5 Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 5 Roofing, a proud sponsor of Tiger Athletics and a member of the Tigers home team. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Our Labor Day savings start now at Lowe's. Right now, buy one, get one free on Valspar Reserve or HGTV Home by Sherwin-Williams Infinity or Showcase Interior Paint via Lowe's gift card rebate. Whether you're painting one accent wall or want to freshen up a whole room, we've got you covered. Because Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows home improvement. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details. Valid through 9/4.
Hey, Jason, the main man, Marshall, it's the Volkswagen Sandy Summer Sales Event at Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike. And, buddy, I need the scoop.
Randy, don't pass this one by, my man. Take your pick, 2024 Taos SE or 2024 Jetta Sport, just $275 a month. And 2024 Atlas Peak Edition, $5,000 off or 0.9% APR for 60 months. And remember, at Gossett Volkswagen on the Pike, no reasonable offer will be refused.
Remember, it's your choice, 2024 Taos SE or 2024 Jetta Sport, $275 a month. And 2024 Atlas Peak Edition's $5,000 off or 0.9% APR for 60 months. So ask for Jason, the main man, Marshall at Gossett Volkswagen, 1875 Covington Pike, or online at GossettVWMemphis.com.
Where we're charging for it and charging less every day.
Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56, 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Hey, just found out. Glenn Rogers Jr., he's already 1-0. Houston beat DeSoto Central last night. It was a Thursday night game, didn't realize it. 38-21. So, Coach is now 1-0 for the week, and the Mustangs just keep picking up right where they left off from a year ago. We go to Chicago in a minute, and our friend Andy Schiffman, brought to you by the good folks at the Spirit Shop. All you got to do is get to Poplar in St. Nick, 4848 Poplar, right down from Clark Tower. It's a little log cabin to stock up for the weekend. You're going to tailgate tonight at a high school game. You're going to tailgate tomorrow in Tiger Lane for the Tigers in North Alabama. This is the place to go because it's right on the way to everything. Right in the heart of East Memphis. Been there since '69. The very best prices on all spirits. They got everything local, too. You like Grind City beer? They got it right there. All the local IPAs. They got everything you want right there. Accessories, every up-and-coming wine or valuable wine, same thing. You want a rare bourbon like Pappy's? Oh, yeah. They've got Pappy's. They've got it. Or maybe you want something that's a little bit fairer price ranged. Everything you want is right there at the Spirit Shop at Poplar in St. Nick. Tell Eddie Connor we sent you. And this portion of the show also brought to you by the good folks at the Eflin Insurance Team. They are all about collaborating, getting to know you so they can protect you in the best possible way. Yeah, that's just the way Matt works it. He's going to figure out when he sits down with you what's the best way to protect your home, your automobile, your future with life insurance. First of all, he wants to know about your family, what's important, what's your budget, and then he finds the right protection. Same sort of philosophy for a small to mid-sized business. What's your product? who are your employees, what you're all about, forecast you out a couple of years, what's your budget, and then he'll figure out the best commercial insurance to protect that business. It's the best. It's collaboration. That's the way they do it at the Eflin Insurance Team. To Chicago we go, and let's hook up with our agent from Priority Sports. That is Andy Schiffman. Man, we saw an unbelievable deal yesterday, right? Steph Curry getting an extension for 1 year. It'll be 2 years from now, but he'll be making $62.6 million in a couple of years. I think he's already in the 40s now. He's going to be one of the first guys to make $500 million when that 62.6 is in the bank. That's just amazing.
Morning, Dave. Yep, Steph will be 39 years old when that deal kicks in. It lines up with the last year of Draymond Green. So you have to think that can kind of be the end of the era for the Warriors once those two contracts are up. And Steph will join rare company with LeBron, those two guys being the first NBA players to gross over $500 million. $500 million in career, which is crazy because that's just in playing contracts, not even to mention, obviously, shoe deals, endorsements, what have you. But I think we're going to see more of that. The way the salary cap is going with these max superstars, Durant is just shy of that number. I think in the next few years, if he stays healthy and keeps playing, obviously Paul George will get there. So again, as we move forward, we're going to see this list grow. And it's crazy to think about in another 10 or 15 years, the number of players that will now be on that list. Luka Doncic, Anthony Edwards, for potentially even like Victor Wembanyama, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The list will keep growing. So it's pretty remarkable of where we've come even in just a short amount of time.
Yeah, I started to think about that. Luka, they say, his next Supermax, with the way they can only raise the cap 10% each year, even though they're going to get $7 billion a year in media rights. But Luka's next contract will be a 5-year, $345 million deal. That's going to average $69 million a year. I was thinking about it when Wembanyama is eligible for his Supermax. I mean, he might be the first $100 million a year guy, right?
Yeah, he definitely could be. And again, we're going to see more of that for these superstars. It's just the way kudos to the NBA and the growth and the expansion of the game and the popularity of the game. And I think now you always hear about that, but with this new TV deal with all of these partners on board shelling out tons of cash to be able to broadcast NBA games, I have to believe it's going to be the most popular sport out there. Obviously, football, I would imagine that's probably tops, only one game a week, of course, if you're following the team. But the way the NBA is going, it's just going to keep growing. I don't see it slowing down anytime soon.
Well, and just remember, as you just said, those are salaries. Those $500 million that you were talking about for Steph and for LeBron, that's salary. That doesn't include endorsement money, right?
You think about Michael Jordan, all the money he made with Nike, and his NBA contract pale in comparison to that. And now, I think it's almost the opposite of some of these guys, or with the exception of maybe LeBron, it's pretty on par. It's pretty incredible.
Well, these Nike deals are amazing. I mean, Penny Hardaway is still making $5 to $7 million, something like that, a year from Nike. I mean, he's still got the third to fifth best-selling shoe.
They're doing something right. I can say that.
And I don't even know what Michael Jordan still makes, but we know he's a multi-billionaire now. So it's crazy stuff. The Curry deal, does that put an end to the speculation that you could see because of their success at the Olympic Games? Not this year, but maybe next year. There was talk that you could see LeBron and Curry teaming up for one last shot at a championship somewhere.
Kind of broke up a little bit. Say that again. Sorry.
I was basically saying there was talk about LeBron and Curry maybe combining to try to win another title somewhere. Does this deal that Steph Curry signed yesterday, does that make that talk moot?
I don't necessarily know. Obviously, a trade would have to be worked out, or when LeBron becomes a free agent, if he does want to go and join the Warriors the next few years, I'd be surprised myself if Steph plays beyond the age of 39. But again, you look at LeBron, he's still playing. I think it's highly unlikely unless some monster trade is worked out or Steph really. I mean, how old will LeBron be in a couple of years? That's the other question. So I think
He's 40 now, right? I mean,
yeah.
So
the guy will play till he's 50. We know that. So highly unlikely unless the stars align, but that would be pretty incredible.
all right, the Grizzlies made a move. They sent Diakite away to get a 15th roster spot open. That's a lot of flexibility, I guess. Could be they would make one of their two-way guys like Scottie Pippen Jr., a contract player. What do you think happens with that 15th spot? Or maybe they just hold it. I don't know.
Yeah, they definitely wanted the flexibility in getting rid of Diakite. That was, I think, in the plans all along when they got him via trade. And so I do believe at some point the Grizzlies will convert Scottie Pippen Jr. from his two-way, and we're hoping our guy, Cam Spencer, from his two-way. They've talked to us about that. Obviously, you need to be able to open up another roster spot at some point. You and I have talked about it. That casualty will probably be Derrick Rose at some point. So I do believe after the first half of this NBA season, we'll see hopefully both Cam Spencer and Scottie Pippen Jr. in Grizzlies uniforms. That move was strictly to just open up a roster spot to have that flexibility to do that during the season.
Now, the other interesting aspect of when I think about it, and a point was made, it was at a speaking engagement, and Eric Hasseltine said this. He said, a lot of times you want to keep these guys on their two-ways, not just for financial reasons, but really so they play. Because if you're in big games that have meaning, you've already got three guards that are going to get most of the minutes because they'll move them around. You're going to have Ja, Bane, and Smart. And all three of them can play some point, certainly Smart over Bane in that regard. So the backup point guard really becomes less important if you rotate those guards.
Yeah, a lot of teams do that. These financially strapped teams, they really preferably like to go into the season potentially with an open roster spot and then rely on some seasoned veteran two-way guys like you see as Scottie Pippen Jr. Obviously, he's in that role last year. He played really well. I think he can handle that role. And so I think if the Grizzlies can manage it, it behooves them to rely on him potentially as a backup/third point guard role, depending on the rotation that Taylor wants to throw out there. And it's great. It's a great value to have a two-way player being able to play rotational minutes, serviceable minutes, at a salary of $550,000, and then be able to have his rights and control his rights moving forward, and whether or not you want to convert him or sign him to another two-way, what have you, after the season. It's very, very valuable. And the flip side of it, though, this rule and this notion hurts veteran guys, these 9-10-year veteran guys that are just looking for a minimum job right now. Those guys are going to be better suited for championship contending teams, playoff level teams. Detroit Pistons, Washington Wizards, they're not going out stockpiling their roster with 34, 35-year-old veterans. And a lot of these better teams that are so far in the tack, they don't really have the flexibility to go out there and maybe guarantee someone, so they're going to look for more reliance on their two-ways.
I'm watching ESPN SportsCenter, and up pops Caitlin Clark, and she breaks the assist record, and she breaks the three-point record for rookies. And then I'm watching a football game, and I see a Gatorade commercial with Caitlin Clark. I mean, then I see another SportsCenter thing where, they've won, I think, 14 of their last 20 games, whatever it might be, and they're making a big deal about her. And then I see another commercial. It's like Capital One or something, and there's Caitlin Clark. I'm beginning to think, and I mean she's Rookie of the Year for sure.
Yeah,
I'm beginning to think she's the third most popular basketball player on the planet, behind Steph Curry and LeBron James.
I think it's a fair argument. I think if you also have to consider, obviously, the likes of Kevin Durant, I think you put him in that category as well.
Luka,
for sure, with the international impact, but absolutely. And I think it's only going to continue. I think what she's done for the women's game obviously speaks for itself, and obviously both in the WNBA and in college. But she's fun to watch. I've seen her play a few times this season, and here's an interesting little observation. So in the past, the WNBA has really, I don't necessarily know if struggled is the right word, but they've really tried to kind of give out comp tickets to current NBA players just to get them courtside at their games to increase attention and publicity for their games. When you're watching a WNBA game and you see your favorite NBA player sitting there courtside, or that NBA player is tweeting or posting something on social media, and now the WNBA does not comp tickets anymore. We've had a number of guys ask to go to WNBA games, and we get met with, great, courtside seats are $450 here, $300 here, and these guys pay it. They want to go and enjoy the game.
Seriously, what does it cost to sit courtside at a Chicago Sky game?
Chicago Sky, probably a couple $100, but I had a player request tickets for the LA Sparks earlier this year, and I don't even think Caitlin Clark was in town playing the Sparks, and courtside seats were $350.
My gosh, what is a general admission ticket?
That I'm not sure of.
Wow, cool. I had no idea it could get that expensive.
Yeah. But it's definitely different than it was 2-3 years ago.
Well, laws of supply and demand. That's
absolutely.
Caitlin Clark. She's a phenomenon. My friend is always. We'll talk a little off season, what you guys do, and what your players are working on, that kind of thing, when we speak in 1 week.
Sounds good, Dave. Have a good holiday weekend.
You too. Thank you, Andy. Andy Schiffman, our agent from Chicago, brought to you by Miramichi. He and his dad, they love golf. They love Miramichi. It's so beautiful. What's not to love? Or if you want to practice. Best practice facilities of any public course, and it's close. It's 22 minutes from mine driveway. It's 12 minutes north of downtown in Woodstock. Great clubhouse, great food. I mentioned those practice facilities because nobody's got a whole area with a big sand trap to learn out of that game, a chipping area, a big, huge green. I mean, literally, it's a 70 or 80-yard green to practice on. You got your own spot for sure. They've got a great driving range. It's ideal to learn. It's ideal to play. 5 different tee boxes. You want to go back over 7,000 yards, you can. You want to go up inside 5,000, you can. Your choice. Here's the common denominator: beauty. The place is beautiful. The back nine, you're walking through a forest with hills, a meandering stream, and waterfalls. You can't beat the golf experience. You just can't. At Miramichi. We're back in a minute. Brian Dacus will end our week. Football and the Tigers tomorrow, North Alabama, Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. What does he think? We'll let you know in a minute.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Memphis, it's official. Crab King Seafood is where it's at. For the most flavored seafood and the biggest plates, run to a Crab King's near you. Visit the Bartlett Cordova location at 7140 Stage Road. The price, the portions, the service is why Crab King's is #1. So don't be disappointed in seafood. Make the right choice the first time and every time. Make it Crab King's. Crab King's have only locally grown catfish. Come and devour tasty snow crabs, king crab, shrimp, salmon, catfish, calamari, and so much more. Enjoy Memphis's best tasting pasta with your choice of toppings. Visit the Bartlett Cordova location at 7140 Stage Road. Crab King's is open Wednesday through Sunday. Enjoy 50% off lunch portions and dollar fountain drinks. The #1 name in Cajun seafood is Crab King's Seafood, a Memphis favorite. Crab King's, 7140 Stage Road. King's with the Z.
Are you looking to save on gas? Well, we got it covered at Gossett Kia on the Pike with 41 and BG Highway and your new 2024 Kia Forte LXS. $199 a month, $37.99 to its side. Or how about a 2024 Kia EV9 Lite with 0% APR available for 48 months? Or get 304 EPA estimated range for $389 a month, $49.99 to its signing. All 24-month lease. Plus, you always get peace of mind with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Call Bobby J. He's ready to put you in your new Kia today. That's Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike or online 24/7 365 at KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Acquisition fee $20,000 per year, 20 cents excess mileage. Forte RE794-066, MSRP 21820, EV9 R60 29603, MSRP 61035. Lease terms include all rebates and incentives, and PF 695 includes tax, title, license, registration, and fees. Must finance through Hyundai with approved credit, valid through 8/31/24. Dealer stock only.
GMFB overtime. GMFB overtime.
This show breaks down all things NFL. From the plays to the players, from the
Overtime.
Hi, this is Jimmy Stovall with Corky's Barbecue. We're celebrating 40 years in Memphis since opening our doors in 1984. And we want to thank you, our loyal customers, with some throwback menu items and some throwback pricing. For a limited time only, dine inside at any of our 4 area locations and get a world-famous full slab of ribs with 4 sides for only $19.84. We are also bringing back our legendary barbecue shrimp for only $13.99. And you can even have them served on a bed of cheese grits for the best barbecue shrimp and grits anywhere in town.
We always end our week with Brian Tankins from the afternoon show, Sports Time on Sports 56. Listen from 3 to 6. We got it. We're here.
Oh, man.
North Alabama, 38.5-point Tiger favorites. Ryan Silverfield said to us in our meetings yesterday, this is the best team that he's had.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's what you love to hear, and I think the hype surrounding this team definitely warrants that. And it's been a whole off season of seeing what they brought back and seeing what Ryan Silverfield has done in the portal and bringing in really talented guys. And so, to be able to go out there tomorrow and see this team actually take the field will be a lot of fun. But I think he's right. This is a very talented unit. And, there's a reason that a lot of people are picking them for the college football playoffs. And so, they just got to go out there and do the work. And I think they'll be able to. And, tomorrow you should see a lot of faces, but it should be a lot of fun.
I think you will see a lot of faces.
Yeah.
I know Jordan Hankins wants to play 25 guys.
Yeah.
I believe Ryan Silverfield would like to see Tim Cramsey 4 running backs play.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. The thing is, here's and Ryan made a big deal at a press conference a week ago where he said the 2018 team was the deepest team he'd seen. 19 guys made the NFL from that team. That's pretty impressive in its own right. But and he's not saying 19 of these guys will go there, but it is a really, really deep team. But now, if you want to be that group of 5 representatives, do you have to beat the heck out of people?
Well, it's a good question, and it's a question that I've asked a lot of people, and they always kind of give the same answer of we're going to find out because I think a lot of people are very confident with what Liberty has returning and their schedule. If you look at some of the sites that rank the toughest schedules, they have the easiest schedule in college football, and so we saw them go undefeated last year,
and then get embarrassed.
Exactly, and so that's my question is what will the committee do if Liberty's sitting there undefeated and Memphis comes in and maybe they have a loss, maybe something is nicking them a little bit on their resume, but they're very even, very close to Liberty. Would they put in an undefeated Liberty team or would they put in a Memphis team? And so I think just to be safe, you're gonna want to go out there and I don't want to use I don't want to say run it up, but you're gonna want to go out there and win convincingly.
Well, what is running games. It up now when you're a 38.5-point favorite?
Well, that's a good point. Yeah.
That's I really don't know. But personally, I mean, if you're up 4 touchdowns, I'm not thinking about 38.5. I'm thinking about, okay, I want to see this kid Boyd. I want to see this backup quarterback.
Exactly.
What is DeRozier, or however we pronounce that?
Yeah.
The new running back that came from UMass, who was actually at Louisville to start. People don't know. What is he's speed guy? What I want to see what he's all about.
Yeah.
I know they figure they're like 8 deep on the offensive line.
Yeah.
I want to see those other 3 guys get a little action because Tim Cramsey most offensive coordinators. They only want to play 5 guys.
Oh, yeah.
On the offensive line.
Absolutely. And so, tomorrow's going to be a great opportunity. You mentioned that spread. I think they're going to cover it. And, I think you're going to see them, kind of, especially in the second half, throw in a lot of guys that, are going to be backups. That are not going to see the field a ton and just, see what they can do. You mentioned the defense. We know they want to play a ton of guys, but I think offensively, too, we'll see a lot of guys out there tomorrow afternoon.
Defensively, because that's the place that's really got to be the most improved. Let's face it, their offense was good enough last year to be the group of 5.
For sure.
Their defense was not, especially in the secondary.
Yeah.
What are you most looking forward to seeing out of the Jordan Hankins defense?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going to be a lot. He's been very guarded in press conferences about what he wants to share about his defense. So it's going to be a lot of new. I'm curious to see how they look coming out. But really, the secondary is what I'm most interested in. You saw a couple of the guys in the secondary leave for the transfer portal after last year. They brought in a couple guys. Then we learned earlier this week, Corlin Marsh, who was supposed to battle for a starting spot. He's going to be injured for the whole year, it sounds like. And so, what does this look like? What does the depth look like? I know Taj Rael, who they added in the portal. Then he was no longer with the team. Now he's back with the team.
He's back on, but I wouldn't count him.
I don't think he's going to play tomorrow, but, sounds like he'll be around and kind of be a depth piece for them if they need it throughout the season. So I think the secondary is the biggest question for me, but it's going to be, kind of looking at a lot with this defense because we don't know a lot about it.
I know by the depth chart that they will have 3 down linemen.
Yeah.
And that's the shortest commodity in college football, so you can understand why.
Absolutely.
And if you look, by the way, at the top defenses in the American last year, they all ran 3 down linemen.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then you'll have 3 linebackers, so you're going to have 5 defensive backs.
Yeah.
Okay. And I asked Jordan Hankins how he would describe his defense, because last year when you say he's guarded, and he is, and as he gets to know us more and more, I'm sure he'll share more stuff with us. But he never told us about changing formation for Iowa State. Now, that was a big secret.
Sure.
Nobody knew.
Yeah.
I don't blame him. Now it's a little more open, and we're going to talk to him every week.
Definitely.
But the word he gave me was multiple.
I love that.
so
Great.
You're not going to learn too much until we see it right off the bat. But I think he thinks they're very fast defensively, and that he, like I said, he wants to play 25 guys.
Yeah.
So he feels like they've got a bunch of different ways they can go.
Yeah, and you love to hear that. When you start talking about depth and being confident with a lot of guys, it makes you feel good. And really, I keep going back to the transfer portal. It's been so impressive what Ryan Silverfield has done. Bringing in talented guys from P4 schools, and giving them maybe a bigger opportunity at playing time or just to be a primary focal point of the defense or the offense, and bringing those guys in. That's going to really help this defense, I think.
There was a report from a social media guy, Hitman Hoops, yesterday about how the Tigers are re-recruiting the kid that had committed to Memphis, then went to Texas. Apparently he's no longer at Texas. 5-star guard named Arterio Morris. Accuracy in that? Because there's a lot of stuff that gets put out there.
Yeah, it's interesting because it feels like we talk about it every week of what's Penny Hardaway going to do? Is he done? Is this roster complete? And so I saw those reports yesterday. This is a guy that, like you said, was a 5-star out of high school, committed to Memphis, was a big time commit. He ended up flipping, going and spending a year at Texas, entered the transfer portal. I think was going to go to Kansas. Had some legal issues, and
of which he was exonerated.
Exactly.
We should point out.
Yes, absolutely. And so, Kansas kind of said, let's part ways here, and so he's looking for a new school. Those reports came out in the morning. Jason Munns reported last night that, according to his sources, that it is very unlikely he'll be a Tiger, but I've not heard really anything one way or the other. But it does sound like there has been conversation between this staff and Arterio Morris.
Here's the thing. You've had your whole team here all summer. You've gotten chemistry. People have talked about roles and being together as a group. Now do you bring in a guy who's not been a part of that again? No matter, I guess if you're a really great player, you do that. I don't know. This is already went to Texas, went to Kansas. Now, the Kansas thing could have been legal problems. I don't know. But do you mess with chemistry? And I think last year that was a problem with too many guys that were scorers and didn't play the roles that maybe they envisioned, but Penny envisioned in a different way.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, and it's a great question because it's, which way do you want to go? If you think this guy can add something to your roster, you want him on your team, but also you're right, that was something Penny Hardaway was very proud of at the beginning of this offseason, is to be able to get all of these guys at the beginning of summer and get them on campus. And so it's a good question. I mean, I was talking to one of my buddies yesterday, and I said, the first thing you do is you either call Tyrese Hunter on the phone, you bring him in your office, and you ask him about this guy, because obviously he was around him at the University of Texas, and kind of try to get some background on this guy from a former teammate, and try to get him to speak honestly about it. And it's a good question. I would say I like this group how it is, and I think if you're gonna add a piece, maybe add a younger guy that can maybe develop and learn. I think
there was an international big guy that
7-footer. Maybe you go out and get something like that. We know.
Well, we still got 3 spots. You could add
exactly,
more.
And I think they will add one. But I think a guy like Arterio Morris, would be a guy that would come in. I think a lot of people would expect him to get a lot of minutes, and I think that's really where you get into the issue of team chemistry and one ball and kind of that same conversation we have a lot.
All right, my friend, enjoy the weekend. And my advice to all of you out there: get there early.
Oh, yeah.
Because most of the stuff's going to come off of Hollywood, which can get really congested. Oh, yeah. So think about it. Get there early. Go to Tiger Lane and party, but get there early. Games at 6.
It's going to be fun.
Should be a lot of fun. We'll get our first look at this football team. Thank you very much. We'll be listening from 3 to 6. Final portion this week brought to you by Grind City Brewing. That is a taste of Memphis, I promise, and an experience of Memphis. Right downtown, just north of downtown. You can see the city lights, see the skyline, you can see the bridges. They've got these beautiful picnic grounds with umbrellas for the day. At night, it becomes a concert venue. They got all kinds of concerts. The weather's getting better for that. Maybe an Oktoberfest will be there. I'm sure there will be. And you've got the brewery right there, this modern facility that is so cool with Poppy's Pills or the great Belga, which is, if you like Blue Moon, it's their Belgian wheat ale. There's the Thaddeus. There's all kinds of local brew that they have perfected. It is truly all Memphis, a taste of Memphis, a dream of a father and son that has become a thriving business. You'll love everything about Grind City Brewing. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you right at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium. Let's enjoy. We'll reconvene on Monday. In the meantime, Johnny Radio's right around the corner. Have a great football weekend, everybody.